Today I'll talk about internal quality control for opinion-based results from a cytopathology laboratory. Most of the work done by a usual cytopathology laboratory is of cervical cytology. I will talk about quality control while reporting cervical cytology in detail, and I'll touch other cytology reportings in brief. I'll talk about quality control under following headings: manpower requirement, ambience or environment, specimen handling, various ratios in cervical cytology reporting, rescreening requirement for cervical cytology, record generation and record maintenance, and reporting system for cervical cytology. There should be a laboratory director or a cytopathologist responsible for all proper performance and reporting of all the cases in cytopathology laboratory. There should be a cytotechnologist for screening of PAPS smears or cervical smears, and he or she should be a certified cytotechnologist. Then there is a need for other laboratory technical staff. Regarding ambience or environment, the cytopathology laboratory should be clean, well lighted, and adequately ventilated. The area of specimen preparation and handling should be separate from reporting area, and safety precautions should be taken into consideration. About specimen handling, a written specimen rejection criteria should be there in a laboratory. Specimen rejection include unlabeled slides, broken slides, or mislabeled slides. Slide screening workload, there are regulations about the workload. For example, 80 slides should be screened in 8 hours and not more than 80. It is 100 as per CLIA 1988, and record must be maintained of the workload. Then clinical correlation and histopathological correlation should be done. There are certain ratios which are important while reporting cervical cytology. The percentage of atypical cases versus percentage of negative cases is a factor to be considered in setting regulations. ASC and SIL ratio should be less than or equal to 2.5 to 3, and total ASC cases burden should be noted. There is a requirement for rescreening in certain circumstances. For example, 10% of all negative pap smears must be full rescreened, and 100% of all negative pap smear must be rapid rescreened at low power for 30 to 60 seconds. Rescreening is also required when there is biopsy information available and there is discordance between biopsy and PAP. For example, if NILM is reported in PAP and biopsy shows high grade, then it needs rescreening of PAP slide. Similarly, for these mismatches, LCL in PAP and high grade in biopsy, HCL in PAP and normal on biopsy, ASCH on PAP and no high grade lesion detected on biopsy. So all these discordance require rescreening of PAP. Then record is generated in cytopathology laboratory. As I told you, workload record should be maintained. Stain quality data should also be maintained, and it include date and number of times the stain was filtered or changed. Specimen acceptance and adequacy criteria data should be maintained, and that data can be correlated with clinicians and clinics. Percentage of various TBS categories reported should be analyzed. Cytological samples should be retained on a file for a minimum of 5 years or indefinite if it is abnormal. So reporting system, the vaginal, ectocervical, endocervical sample should be interpreted by using the Bethesda system of reporting of cervical cytology, and daily audit is done regarding the reporting system. Then weekly audit of turnaround time should be done, and non-gynecological samples should be interpreted in medical terms or relevant systems of reporting if available. I'll go through some of the important reporting systems of non-gynecological specimens later in this lecture. Now, the Bethesda system for cervical cytology reporting, as described in the year 2014. These are the main headings. Specimen type, we should indicate whether it was a conventional smear or a liquid-based preparation. And we should comment on specimen adequacy, which may be satisfactory for evaluation and unsatisfactory for evaluation. Sample rejected or not processed, specify reason for that. Specimen processed and examined but unsatisfactory for evaluation of epithelial abnormality because of, we need to specify reasons. Then we should categorize the result uh, in these forms: negative for intraepithelial lesion or malignancy, and epithelial cell abnormality. We should specify whether squamous or glandular, and report interpretation is required. Interpretation can be divided into negative for intraepithelial lesion or malignancy, which may be non-neoplastic findings, organisms detected, or other findings, for example, endometrial cells for a woman more than 45 years of age. Epithelial cell abnormality may be of type squamous cell, which include atypical squamous cells, which is divided into ASC US and ASCH. Then low-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion, high-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion, and squamous cell carcinoma. Epithelial cell abnormality may be glandular, which include atypical and atypical favoring neoplastic or endocervical adenocarcinoma in situ or adenocarcinoma or other malignancies. The additional information should be reported about adjunctive testing, computer assisted interpretation of cervical cytology, educational notes. So this was about the Bethesda system for cervical cytology. Now we go on for thyroid cytology reporting. There is a system for thyroid cytology reporting with the same name as the Bethesda system for thyroid cytology reporting. It is divided, the case is categorized into these headings: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 1 is non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory category. Then 2 is benign category. Third is atypia of undetermined significance or follicular lesion of undetermined significance. It has various subheadings. Then follicular neoplasm or suspicious for follicular neoplasm. Then fifth category is suspicious for malignancy of specific types other than follicular neoplasm. Then sixth is clear-cut malignancy, and these are specified. So this was the Bethesda system for thyroid cytology reporting. Now we come on to salivary gland cytology reporting. The system is known as the Milan system for reporting of salivary gland cytopathology. It is categorized into these six headings. First one is non-diagnostic, second is non-neoplastic. Third is ATP of undetermined significance, when we cannot differentiate between non-neoplastic and neoplastic category. Then fourth is neoplastic. It is divided into benign and uncertain malignant potential, or SUMP, when we cannot differentiate between benign and malignancy. Then there is a category of suspicious for malignancy. Then sixth category is of malignancy. Now we come on to urine cytology reporting. There is a system known as Paris system for reporting of urine cytopathology. It is categorized into these seven categories. First one is non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory. Second is negative for high-grade urothelial carcinoma. Third is atypia. Fourth is suspicious for high-grade urothelial carcinoma. Then fifth is low-grade urothelial neoplasm. Sixth is high-grade urothelial carcinoma. And seventh is other malignancies, primary or metastatic. Then we come on to breast cytopathology reporting. I'll describe about the reporting system which is used for NHS UK breast cancer screening program as described in 2016. It includes five categories. First one is C1 category, which is inadequate, which may be due to these reasons. Then C2 category, which is of benign. C3 category is ATP are probably benign. C4 category is suspicious for malignancy, and C5 is clear-cut malignancy. Then at the end, I'll talk about serous fluid cytology reporting system. There are at least two systems which are available. One is by International Academy of Cytology and American Society of Cytopathology, given in 2019. It report into various categories. First one is non-diagnostic. The second is negative for malignancy. Third is ATP of undetermined significance. Fourth is suspicious for malignancy. And fifth is malignancy, whether primary or secondary. Similar type of categorization is done in a system described by Indian Academy of Cytologists in the year 2019. So this is very similar. So this is all about the quality control in a cytopathology laboratory. Thank you very much.